All right, shoot, Dolan.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
What's going on, everybody? We are officially kicking off episode 1 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I am your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. We're going to do this show for about an hour. I'm excited to get really down into the nitty-gritty of showing you how you can buy cars, lease cars, and get below market prices. And if you don't know me, I spent 14 years in the car business, 5 with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors. And now what we do is we devote our time and our energy into teaching you how to car shop with strategy, how to understand the things that you haven't been taught to understand. So we do rapid fire Q&A. And no matter where you're at, I want you to start typing your questions. We're live on 4 platforms right now. And this whole broadcast is going to be sponsored by my new book. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. There's a link in every single post so you can get your copy at 75% off for the next 30 minutes. But while we're here, let's go deep. And everything I'm going to be teaching you is going to be out of my book. And all of your questions are going to be answered in one of our 7 steps. So start typing your questions. I got my man Dolan in the background. I see a lot of people on TikTok, but I don't see the questions coming in on TikTok yet. And TikTok, y'all usually are the ones that send the questions the fastest. So let's get these questions up. And so Dolan can start loading them onto the show and we can get down to business. So Dolan, kick us off when you're ready. 75%. Yes, 75% off is today, SS. That's from YouTube. Yes, you can get it for the next 30 minutes. It's normally $97. But it'll be in your inbox in about 5 minutes at 75% off. So let's go, Dolan. When you're ready, if we've got the first question, let's kick it off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. Hello. Thank you for all your advice. We're looking at the car on Copart, and it was a salvage title. What is your experience with these types of auctions? So I don't get into teaching about salvage titles. I'm going to tell you why. I consider that to be like foreclosures. I'm not telling you that there's anything wrong with these cars. What I am saying is they're like foreclosures in real estate, which means you should be learning from someone who actually lives that life every day, because there are many risks. When a normal person starts entering into a high risk market, the rewards could be high, but also the risks are high. So I would tell you to find someone who's buying salvage title, buying at auction, and learn from that person. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. Okay, this one's from Instagram. I got a lease with Nissan, not looking to go back to Nissan. Should I buy it out and then trade the vehicle in for what I want? This is a great question. First of all, can everybody hit the share button? And if you're on TikTok, can y'all just start tapping the screen and light this up? Because we want to set people free, and it takes all of us to do this. It takes the people who are committed to this mission. You want to save money. You also want your friends to save money. Tag somebody. They'll thank you. So this is a great question. The only time it makes sense financially to buy a lease is when you're keeping it another 8 years. I'm going to tell you why. I'm teaching something called the 8-year rule, because what you guys have to learn is the unseen expense. The unseen expense is depreciation. That's the expense you haven't been taught to see. You haven't been taught to focus on it. It's depreciation. That's the reason why when you buy a car today for $30,000, tomorrow, if you tried to sell it, it's not worth 30,000 anymore. It's worth 25. It's worth 24, whatever. That's depreciation. So when you keep your car long term, your car's value goes down like this. But when you keep it long term, the depreciation starts to level out. When you buy your lease, all you're doing is buying a pre-owned car. That's all you're doing. Yes, it's a lease that you had, but you have to start seeing it as it's just a used car. So you want to ask yourself, should I buy a used car and then turn around and sell it? That's what you're talking about. Now, Coach Mojo, we don't buy leases. What we do is we see if we can sell them for a profit. If you didn't know you could sell a lease, I want you to type a 1 in the chat. We're going to be peeling back a lot of things you're going to discover as you listen and you stay in this community. You can sell a lease. Most of you have heard of the term lease with the option to buy, but you're not familiar with lease with the option to sell. You have those rights no matter what. 9 times out of 10, we're going to exercise our option to sell. And how you sell, there's 3 ways to sell. There's 3 different types of what I call an equity assessment. This is step 2 in my book. You must do an equity assessment. If you have ever dropped your lease off to a dealership and you haven't done this, then you could have given them thousands of dollars without knowing. So what you're going to do is do an equity assessment by calling the bank, finding out how much you owe. You want to get your payoff. That's going to tell you, let's say it's $18,500. That's your customer payoff. Now what you want to do is you want to see who will pay you more than that, or at least that amount. And we don't go to dealerships for that. We go right online. This takes 20 minutes to do. We're going to go to CarMax.com, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, and Car Guru Sell My Car. This is going to get us 6 offers, cash offers. See, our cars are not worth what an algorithm tells us our cars are worth. Our cars are worth what a person is willing to pay for today. And when you see those numbers, that's going to tell you if you have equity versus not having equity. So the short version of your question is, Coach Mojo, you shouldn't be buying your car unless you're planning on keeping it another 8 years, because we teach something called the 8-year rule, which is if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you're not going to outlive the depreciation drop in value. So you shouldn't be buying it. You should be leasing. And I know a lot of you probably, oh, well, Deshone, I was taught never lease. I was taught don't lease. I was taught don't lease. Well, you're going to find out the more you stay here, as you just dive in to financial numbers we go over, you're going to see that that's bad advice. And unfortunately, millions of people have been subject to bad advice that has been costing them money. Okay, so we'll go more into detail on that. There's only 2 ways to beat depreciation. Long-term ownership, that's our 8-year plus people. If you're keeping your cars, your next car, if your plan is to keep it 8+ years, I want you to type K in the comments for keeper. Type K in the comments if your next car, you're like, Deshone, my next car, I want to keep it at least 8 years. I want you to type a K. All right? Now, if you are not keeping your car at least 8 years, then you should be shopping for a lease, because that's how you're going to avoid depreciation. We're going to talk more about leasing, because you cannot just get any lease. You have to get what I call a good value lease. We'll go more into detail on that. But that's the foundation, Coach Mojo. Answer those questions first before you think about anything else. All right? Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next question up, man. Keep typing the questions, y'all. We're bringing them from all platforms. This one's from TikTok. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter, even with a 730 score? Okay, great question. We don't focus on pre-approval letters. What we focus on is making sure, all right, so I teach something called the bank bidding war. Everything we're going to do from now on is going to be a bid. Could y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? I see y'all running the lights up. When y'all keep tapping the screen, what it does is let TikTok know, listen, more people need to get over here, because we're talking about something that everyone needs to hear. So I appreciate y'all. Look, they're running them up. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter. So we were taught always get pre-approved. But here's the problem. People got onto it. Whenever we do something and the public starts moving in a way, the big companies adjust to it and they find a way to infiltrate it. Most of the companies that you are trying to get pre-approved from, that I'm trying to get pre-approved from, their goal is to isolate us. Something called restricted pre-approvals. I'm gonna tell you what a restricted pre-approval is and why we stay away from them. A restricted pre-approval limits where you can shop. We'll approve you, but only to shop with Carvana. We'll approve you, but only to shop with our dealer network. We'll approve you, but only to shop with a drive time dealer. Because a pre-approval is the whole purpose when you learn how we shop, which is to shop wide. When you start seeing to shop wide and get multiple offers and see the entire 100-mile radius within where you live as a huge market where people are competing to sell you a car, you'll start seeing why we never want to deal with a restricted pre-approval. So what we do is we use something called the bank bidding war. The only way, how many people have asked themselves, did I get the best interest rate? Type dollar signs. If you've asked yourself ever, you bought a car and you said, did I really get the best interest rate? Type a dollar sign if you've wondered that. See, the only way to get something we call price assurance, which is to guarantee. See, these are powerful words that I want you to add to your vocabulary when you're car shopping. We need to guarantee that we got the best interest rate. How do we do that? Getting bids. Experian wrote an article. They allow you to have multiple lenders pull your credit with a hard pull and compete and give you rates within a 14 to 45 day period. Now, don't ask me why they say 14 to 45 days. That's the window. I'm going to teach you how to do it in a way where it'll only take you 2 days and you're going to let tons of people run your credit and you're going to guarantee you got the best rate, and it's going to weigh on your score like one hard inquiry. So if one hard inquiry would have dropped your score 9 points, natural. We buy a car, a hard inquiry is going to drop our score. That's natural. But we're going to get 20 hard inquiries and it's going to drop our score the exact same way. This is how it works. You do not let anyone run your credit under any circumstances until after you find your car. In my book, I have something called the Perfect Budget Calculator. I created this tool. What it does is it's going to tell you, it's going to give you multiple goals. It's going to tell you exactly what car you can afford. It's going to tell you how to be under your max monthly payment. And you put everything you want to put in, what your max monthly payment is, we use the standard interest rate. So whatever the interest rate is at this time, we use that. Budget. The only purpose for a pre-approval is to budget. Think about some of you who are homeowners. The only purpose in getting pre-approved was to budget so that you can go buy your house, right? You with me? That's the only purpose. If we don't get pre-approved, we don't know how much we could afford. So when we do, what we do is we take the average interest rate, and that's what we're going to use to estimate our payments. This is in my book. See, I created technology. So some of you are saying, Deshone, is this just a book? No, it's not just a book. I have links in there. I have links to videos in there. I have platforms that I've created and calculators and tools that I created that I wish I could refer to you. No, but they're only in my book. So you can get the book. I'm going to teach you how to do things the manual way. Some things you can say, Deshone, I could do that manually. But if I'm telling you about a tool I created to use so that it can budget for you, then the only way to get it is to actually get my book. You can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio. You can get it in my Instagram bio. You can go to deshonesbook.com, or you can scan the QR code and get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes. But when you budget, you know exactly how much you can spend on a car, and you go find your car under that budget. The Perfect Budget Calculator is going to give you multiple goals. See, here's the problem. When you go out shopping for a car, you notice how you have a budget in mind and you typically tend to go over it. You say, I don't want to spend any more than $500, or I don't want to spend any more than $30,000. But you usually end up going over it because you don't factor in tax. You don't factor in how long the loan, you don't factor these things in. Okay, well, how much? They said I'm pre-approved for $30,000, but What does that equate to in a monthly payment? It's broken. It's a broken system. When we go out, we find the car we're looking for. That's when we are going to now let people run our credit. Never before that. We go out, you find your best deal on a car. That's when you come home and you let multiple people run your credit and fight it out to give you an interest, to give you a loan. See, because if you open up, if you let people run your credit before this, now they're going to give you a time limit. So even this is all answering this young lady's question about pre-approvals. The reason why they're garbage is because if it's a hard pull, they're garbage, because now they've started that window that I told you about. You got 14 to 45 days and it starts to count down. Now you're trying to rush and find a car. Some of us, it might take us 3 months to find the best deal on our car. If you got a pre-approval and the time is expiring, you're shopping with your back against the wall. Second reason it's garbage is because once they give you a pre-approval, you are now tied to them and you don't have the opportunity to bid, and it's just garbage. So do what I'm telling you to do. When you find your car, that's when you're going to come home and you are going to now let people run your credit, and then you are going to let the dealer see if they can beat it. See, this is a must. I know you may have been taught, oh, I don't let that dealer run my credit. No, make them compete. The bad part is when a dealer is trying to give you an interest rate when you have no offer. That's bad. But when you have an offer, that's when he's trying to beat it. And that's a very different thing. You tell him, hey, I got 7.2 from whatever bank. That's the best offer I got. Okay. Now that dealer goes to work with their 7 to 12 bank. Hey, listen, can we beat this? And when he calls you, he's going to tell you one or two things. Hey, good news. I was able to beat that interest rate. In which case, you what? Guarantee you got the lowest interest rate. Or he's going to say, listen, I tried my best. I talked to every bank I got. Nobody could beat that rate. In which case, what? You still what? Guarantee you got the best interest rate. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is with bids. We're going to stop negotiating. We're going to start making people bid. That's what we're all about here. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. I'm going to try to get through these. I'm going to try to give, see, I can't do short answers to some questions. Okay, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Link to 75% off is not working. Are y'all able to click it on TikTok? Let me know on TikTok if y'all are able to access the 75% off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Great question. You should be focused on getting a great car, and you should be, all right. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Under no circumstances do you ever want to compromise on the car. Follow me. You are going to focus on getting a great car, knowing I'm probably going to pay more in interest. Paying more in interest is not bad considering your situation. Here's why. That can be fixed. Refinance, that can be fixed. But if you get a bad car, that cannot be fixed. So we have resources. I use a company. I refer people to LendBuzz. LendBuzz will work with people who have challenged credit. But here's what you got to know. You can't let them dictate how you're going to shop. You must have your own shopping strategy. Now, there's two situations where if you have bad credit, how many years are you keeping the car? That's the question. If it's 8+ years, then no problem. I'm going to get the best car I can find. I'm going to pay a little bit more in interest, but as soon as my credit's good, I'm going to refinance that loan. Problem solved. Second person is Deshone. I'm not keeping my car 8 years, but I need a car now. Perfect. You should be trying to set yourself up for a lease in 2 years, in which case you want to get the least expensive car that you can get a loan on. $10,000, $12,000. You're going to use that perfect budget calculator, or you just want to say $10,000 to $12,000. You're going to try to find a car in that range. I'm going to tell you why. In 2 years, when you go to trade out of that car, if you go and buy yourself a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 car, you're going to have a bunch of negative equity. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop you from getting a lease. This is what people do. Oh, Deshone, I couldn't qualify for a lease, so I'm gonna go out. I want to get that Dodge Charger with the big engine in it because I can't sacrifice for 2 years. I can't be out here looking like I don't have a nice car, problem. I can't help you. But if you're willing to say, because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. When you get that Dodge Charger, you usually forced your way into it, bought an older one, paying a high payment, high interest. So in 2 years, when you think you're gonna trade out of it and go lease, you're gonna have a hard time because the negative equity is gonna be so severe. And when you have that $600, $700, $800, $900 car payment, chances are you might miss one of them. This is a disaster because we can't sacrifice. So what I'm telling you to do is say, all right, if Deshaun's telling me that the best move financially is for me to be leasing because I'm not keeping my cars 8 years, I need to be getting great leases, but I can't qualify, then my mission is to qualify. That's my mission. So when I look at what that take, what did that take? That means I'm going to get a car now, and that's going to be my sacrifice car. That's going to be my car that I drive for 2 years, build my credit. It's not going to be my perfect car. My perfect car is going to be when I drive a brand new lease off the lot 2 years from now. This is my setup car. So I'm going to make sure I get a low price car where I won't miss a payment. I'm going to build that payment history. I'm going to have minimal negative equity. And then in 2 years, I'm going to make a power move. That's the short term and the long term. That's why it's important to know, is this a long-term car or is this a short-term car? Very important to know. If it's long-term, I told you what to do. You buy a car, refinance later. Short-term, you should be setting yourself up for at least in 2 years. Buy yourself an inexpensive car, low loan, small loan, and get ready to trade that in 2 years. But you must get a great car. In either situation, you can't sacrifice the quality of the car or the whole plan goes to hell. Your car breaks down midway, plan is scrap the plan. So we never compromise. So check this out. I see as soon as you purchase the book, I give you a support email because I do not DM me about products. Everyone gets a support email because we want to handle those issues immediately. DMs I barely see. Thank God we got 2 million plus followers. I can barely see DM. That's why as soon as you get a book, I say screenshot this screen. If you don't get that book within 5 to 10 minutes, check your spam, check your junk. Then you go and you contact support and we'll make sure we email you that copy manually. Okay? Because that's what we do. Don't DM, use that support email so we can make sure we take care of you. All right, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question so far. What would dealers try to sell you a car that has issues? Don't sign up for these answers. That's why does the sun rise in the east and set in the west? Some questions are not worth trying to answer. Just plan accordingly and move accordingly, knowing these things are. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of you with cars are not educating you, are not moving with integrity, then you better be educated. Remember that. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of your money, when you come to buy a car, lease a car, that's a $10,000 to $100,000 transaction, some of you. If those people are not moving with integrity, and you cannot guarantee that, a smile doesn't guarantee that, talking nice doesn't guarantee that, you better be educated. And the people who are going to move like the way we're going to move, the way you're going to move if you're listening to this, the way you're going to move if you have my strategies in my book, the way you're going to move when you learn how to car shop online and make people bid, you're going to be educated where no one can take advantage of you. You're empowered. You're the one in control. You're the prize. You're the one people are competing with to earn their business. And that's what I want for you. All right, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from Facebook. I'm about to begin the process of buying a car from a dealership. They're offering me a lowered payment if I go with one of their lenders. Are there any ways to save on this deal? So have you gotten bids? See, look, you were programmed to be loyal to dealers. I'm from the industry. I was in the industry for 14 years. I'm teaching people all around the country. We have over close to 8,000 customers that have used our stuff and used our products since 2021. We have data from all around the country. There is absolutely no way that you're going to get your best deal ever focusing on one dealer. That would be like you going into a supermarket and say, hey, no matter what the price of this item is, I'm only buying it from this brand. Or you saying, oh, I'm gonna buy a TV. No matter what I'm just gonna walk into Walmart and whatever the best price on the TV is that I see, I'm just gonna take that. I'm not gonna look online, I'm not gonna look on Amazon, I'm not gonna look on Best Buy. I'm just gonna walk into one store committed to try to get a deal with that store. That's the same thing you're doing. Could y'all keep running the likes up on TikTok, keep tapping the screen? If you're getting value out of this, I appreciate it. We don't do that anymore. That is a recipe. And look, I'm going to tell you something, and I hope you don't take offense to it. Our grandparents shopped like that. In what way in 2024, 2025, almost 20 years, 30 years after the internet's being invented, you're still shopping like our grandparents shopped? Does that make sense? It makes sense when you're like, yeah, Deshone, that's what I'm doing. But it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of why am I doing this? It's because that's what you were taught to do. That's why I represent unlearn, relearn. You can't win with what I teach unless you're willing to scrap all that bad knowledge. We don't buy from one dealer. 3 transactions that people have been, I'm gonna break this down real quick in literally a second so y'all understand. There's 3 transactions that you've been taught to give to car dealers. 3. Buying your car from them is one transaction. Who you get your loan from is another transaction. Who you sell your old car to is a 3rd transaction. And many of you have been taught to give the dealer all 3. Meanwhile, there are people who only want to give you a loan. They don't sell cars. They want to compete for your loan. There's other people who want to buy your old car. They don't sell cars. They want to buy your old car. Y'all get what I'm saying? Type a Y for yes, if you're understanding that you have to start breaking these transactions into their own transactions. You can't maximize and guarantee you're getting your best deal mixing 3 transactions or 2 transactions into one. You can't do it. We're breaking them up. And now once we break them up, how do we guarantee we get the best offer in each one? Bids. So you understand? So what we're doing is we need to see our old car, our old lease, our old car that we have that we're replacing. Who I'm going to sell that car to is one transaction. And whoever's going to win the bid gets the car. Who I'm going to get my loan from, that's another transaction. And whoever wins the bid gets my loan. Who I'm going to buy my car from, that's another transaction. And who's going to win the bid gets the car, gets to sell me the car. And we do this in 60 minutes. See, what you're going to see, watch this. Let me show you Frina. Frina just picked up her Jeep last week. Look at the deal she got. This is why you're never going to get these deals walking in the dealers. You're never going to be able to guarantee your best deal walking in the dealers. You're going to sit at home and be in control. Look at Frina's deal. She said, look, I'm a proud graduate. Cars from Home that's our video library. And, like I said, I coach people all around the country. She said, I picked up this baby yesterday. Look at the date. 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Anniversary Edition. Followed the program, used all the scripts. I have scripts in my book. I have scripts that we don't talk. Because if you have to talk, you run the risk of messing something up. No offense. I'd rather you type. If you'd rather type than talk, type a 1. So contacted the dealers, sealed the deal, $579 a month. Look at the MSRP on this car. She got a hybrid one, $65,000 vehicle, almost 66. Her best deal, who won the bid, was a 0.88% lease. That is unheard of in the world. See, I teach something called the 1.5% rule for knowing when you're paying too much for a lease. The 1% rule has been around since way before I even got in the car business. If you could lease a car for 1% of the MSRP, no money down, no money out of pocket, you stole the car. This is 0.88%. I owe it all to Deshone. Without this program, I wouldn't have had the tools to shop from home. Shopping from home the right way is how you're going to win. Some of you may have tried, Deshone. I tried. It seems hard. Yeah, because once the internet was invented, internet salespeople got invented. And internet salespeople are trained to make it hard they got to make money. And what they're going to do is they're going to make it hard for you to get a deal done because half the time you don't even know the information you need to give them to get a quote. Hey, I got to give you where I work at, see if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you what cars are in my household, see if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you, what affiliations I have. I got to tell you what my date is. I have something called a no later than date. What's my deadline? Hey, I could buy a car, Deshone. I don't need a car for about 3 months. Should I start shopping now? Yes, you should. Because if you get in the market now and you can buy a car today, but you don't need it for 3 months, that's called leverage. See, most people walking in the dealers, they're like, hey, I need a car this week. I need a car today. That means the car that's coming 6 weeks from now, they can't benefit from that. You can. But you got to learn how to give this information. And this is why when you try to shop online, you have a hard time because you don't know. You're defensive and you're like, I'm not giving the dealer what they need, but I'm also not staying in a position where I don't give them too much information where they can use it against me. So that's what we'll learn. Everything I'm teaching you is, if I can boil it down to a couple simple things, mastering the science of shopping from home. That's why my book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, and making people bid for your business. We can sum that. Once you master those 2 things, you're going to save more money in 60 minutes than you ever saved going into dealers 2, 3, 4 times, spending hours in there. And you're going to have price assurance, which is guaranteeing that you couldn't have saved any more money. That's what Freenah has. That's what I want you to have. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up, brother. Keep typing your questions, y'all. We're bringing them in from all platforms. Let me bring Freenah's pick down. All right, perfect. Shoot the next one up. All right, I'm trying to fly through these, y'all, but I can't give short answers. You get what I'm saying? I got to give you the full answer. Can you get a great deal on the lease vehicles on a Range Rover? Okay, great question. You can't control the lease program. The lease program is what's going to dictate when the dealer wins the bid. Let's say a dealer, I always teach, when you start getting bids on a lease you should see about at least a $3,000 to $5,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer. Now, sometimes it's more drastic than that. You're doing it, you'll see a $7,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer, but you need to see a spread. I'm going to tell you why. 80% of dealers are overpriced. So when you start getting offers, if you don't get enough offers to where you see that spread, you haven't gotten enough offers. I teach you need to get at least 5. In my book, I have something called the 25 to 5 strategy. So once the whole purpose of a bid is to find the dealer that's willing to discount the car and sell the car lower than all their competitors. And if there's any rebates, to disclose them to you. That's only going to come through bids because you don't know who you're dealing with. An 80% dealer is not going to tell you all the rebates. An 80% dealer will tell you, okay, yeah, there's no rebates, but there actually is. 80% dealer is going to say, all right, yeah, there's $1,000 rebate. Hey, but there's actually $2,500. So you can't depend on an 80% dealer. You have to get multiple offers and reveal who the actual dealers are who is going to win the bid. Now, once that happens on a lease, the lease program is in the background. And if the lease program is trash, then you're going to be over 1.5%. And over 1.5% means the payment you're paying when it's more than 1.5% of the MSRP. That means you're paying too much for a car you're giving back. See, I was concerned to start making lease videos because I knew when people started finding out how good leasing was, they were going to just go into dealers and say, hey, work me up a lease. Problem with that is, if you don't know how to get a great lease, you're going to get a bad lease, sign up for it, and it's still going to be better than your history of purchasing. So you're going to think you won, but you left thousands of dollars on the table. So I don't want to teach you about going after leases until you learn how to get multiple offers so you can reveal the best deals. But what we do is we always with leases have 3 options because we can't control the lease program. And if we can't control the lease program, we need to have a bet. Because look, y'all, there's tons of companies out there that are offering bad leases and people are signing up for them. especially some luxury brands. Every car has a different lease program. Luxury brands will say, hey, we're going to put a bad lease out there because we know we can ego sell people, which means, hey, come on, Mr. Jones. Come on. How long you been driving Range Rovers? Man, I've been driving them for 12 years. All right, well, come on. You really gonna leave Range Rover over a couple dollars? Yeah, but I mean, the lease seems kind of high. It seems like, I'd be better off buying the car. No. If you don't know that, they're going to ego sell you. So until people stop signing these bad leases, we are not going to get to the point where some of these banks say, all right, we got to stop with the bad lease deals. Now, conversely, opposite end, there's phenomenal lease deals out there. Like Yusuf Rina. I'll show you a couple more before we jump off the show. So it's harder to get a great lease deal because there's a lease program. It's easy to get a car if you're buying brand new through bids. Easy to save thousands of dollars. But we can't dictate the lease program. And we're not going to sign it. I will never say to you, sign a bad lease. Dealer will tell you, oh, look, I'm beating all my competition. Phil, man, look, I'm saving you like $6,000. Man, I wish I could lower the payment, but the lease program's not good. That's okay. That's why it only takes us 60 minutes to get these quotes. We don't want to spend hours to find out it's a bad lease program. We pick a car, we get our bids. Within 2 days, we're going to know if it's a bad lease program, in which case we move to our Plan B vehicle. Okay? So everything I'm teaching is out of my new book. It's called Cars from Home. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Your goal is to master the science of car shopping from home and to start making people bid for your business. All right, that's everything it's going to show you in 7 steps, and you can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio, or you can get it in my Instagram bio, or you can get it in my you can go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from TikTok. How do I get out of negative equity? 3 options for negative equity. That's it. And after I tell you these 3 options, I need you to know the cause. The cause is super important because I can give you a Band-Aid, but if you don't know the cause, you're going to continue to be in trouble. 3 options. 2 lead to a new car. 1 doesn't. Negative equity is the bad credit to people with good credit, because if you have too much, it will stop you from getting your car. So your first option with negative equity is to pay it off. Here's what happens. You want to use that equity assessment process that I told you about a little while ago. You're going to call your bank, find out what you owe. After you find out what you owe, you're going to go to those websites I mentioned, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, Car Guru, Sell My Car. That's going to give you 6 cash offers. These people are bidding on cars every day. They usually put their best offer out there. In 30 minutes, you'll have 6 offers. They pay more than dealers on average. In fact, 2 or 3 of those bids you're going to get are actually from dealers. So it's a nice mix of offers. 3 of them are from online car buyers, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana. 3 of them are from car dealers, local car dealers. So it's a nice mix, but they're bidding. That's going to lead to the least amount of negative equity because remember, when you get bids, you're getting the most value. You're getting the most savings. You're getting the most money when you are getting bids. So let's just say you pull your payoff and it's $16,000. Your highest bid is $14,000. That means you have a $2,000 negative equity gap. You are much better off coming up with the $2,000 and paying that car off and going into your next transaction clean. That is the best way to go. Because now, if you can't do that, I'm going to tell you why it's the best way when I tell you the second way to get out of negative equity. If you can't pay the difference, then that means you must bring that car. You can't do a separate transaction with that car because you need the dealer who you're going to buy the car from to wrap the negative equity into the new deal. They are still going to win the bid. You must, in all cases, only deal with dealers who won the bid. But once they win the bid to sell you the car, now when you come to them, You're gonna now bring your old car into it and see what it's worth to them.